we can all hear.
There we go.
So we'll call this meeting to order. Neil, you'll note the rule, which I know you already have.
Yep.
And then our approval of minutes will be available at our action meeting next week on the 17th. Are there any public appearances that are not related to any sort of reports?
It looks like everybody who's on is on for their report.
Perfect, sir. All right, we have no old business, new business. So all this meeting is really just an opportunity for the commission to hear from organizations or read their reports. As just follow-ups of our previous funding, get an update, ask any questions that we have. Really, we're trying to kind of separate this from the decision-making process because I know a lot of organizations and individuals are repeat appliers. And so this kind of just helps us have that follow through because we've never really had that previously. So there's really no kind of order to this, except for I'll just kind of go down the screen of participants that Neil has. And, you can take, once you're called upon, you can take the time to share with us any information that you want. Commissioners can just have opportunity to ask any questions. And then, we can move on from there. So I am going to start with Kara Erickson, who I know is from Aldo Leopold. If we will start with her.
Hi, thank you. Just to confirm then, does that mean that next Thursday, the 17th at noon, because that's the time I see on Betsy's calendar, is when we're going to talk about the grant cycle that was just submitted? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so all
right.
applications for that consideration should have been submitted on the 7th of October.
Yeah,
And then
okay.
We've got one.
Yeah, perfect. And then
All right,
we'll
so I'll-
consider those on the 17th.
Sounds good. I'll hold that time then. Awesome. All right. Well, we were granted 3 grants for 2024. One for our 30th anniversary celebration, one for adult summer camp, and one for weddings and sustainable events at ALNC. We have completed submitting reimbursement receipts for both the 30th anniversary and adult summer camp. If I can just take a couple minutes to talk about both of those events. They were both highly successful. The 30th anniversary, we had over 500 people attend. It was a beautiful open house type style event where we had local food carts come in and serve food at a reduced rate to participants. We had a live band playing music throughout the event. We had cake, way more than enough cake for everybody who attended the event.
I noticed that was your one change you said, Kara, that you guys would do on the event was less cake is what they said on the report.
Yeah, less cake. And then we had nature activities throughout the grounds as well as historical photographs inside, kind of sharing about the founding of the Aldo Leopold Nature Center, and then hands-on activities that families and attendees could do at their leisure. Adult summer camp also was very highly successful. In our first year, we had between 125 to 135 attendees. This is an event we're planning to do next year. June 21st is the date in 2025. So get that date in your calendar if you're hoping to attend adult summer camp next year. We sent out a survey after the event, and everyone who completed the survey said that they would buy tickets for next year's event. They had a great time. It was an opportunity for them to be on the grounds and pretend they were kids again, basically. There's some things we would change about the structure, but not too much. Maybe just allowing more time for some of the activities like tie-dyeing that were big hits. We also had a rocket creating, building, and launching station, which was a lot of fun for attendees. And they said that they would like more opportunities like that to build hands-on structures and kind of sit down in community and be in community with one another. Because 2025's event is going to be on summer solstice, we're planning some possibly to tie it into Make Music Monona as well, because that happens on the 21st of June every year. And we're also thinking about the solstice story, doing maybe a little bit of theater, if you will, for summer camp attendees next year. yeah, I'm interested in growing this event. Like I said, we had between 125 and 135 this year. I think we could easily do 300 people. I've been in discussion with Christine and Laura at Discover Monona about how we could possibly up the overnight stays for this event. Is there something we could offer on Sunday in Monona that would attract people to stay the night? I don't think either of these events had a huge turnout for hotels, unfortunately. I think the 30th anniversary was much more attended by Monona residents and locals. We did advertise outside of Dane County. For adult summer camp, we reached into Milwaukee for quite a bit of the advertisement, and I would do that again this year. I would, or for 2025, I would um, increase the marketing in Milwaukee. We had links to the hotel websites on both of our event pages, social media. But I think I'd like to work to just sell more of that, like what is the room rate for adult summer camp and how can we get folks to stay the night? We're hearing back from especially from weddings because that's our other grant, and we have the opportunity to work with wedding couples on hosting their event at ALNC. That Country Inn and Suites is a very attractive choice because of the shuttle. So I know our rentals manager pushes that whenever possible. The Country Inn and Suites has a shuttle, so working with them to figure out, especially for a drinking event like adult summer camp, that people can get home safely or back to their hotels safely. So, let's see. Yeah, I think for in terms of marketing for adult summer camp for next year, I would probably do much of the same that I did. I feel like, we had high hopes in our first year of having over 250 attendees, but with the first year, I'm happy with the number that we had and the event flow. But I think we can easily grow that number to 300 plus next year in 2025. Talking about weddings and sustainable events, thanks to the grant that we received from the Monona Tourism Commission, we were able to purchase reusable dishware and silverware, if you will, for attendees, which is not something we've been able to offer before. Folks before had to rent their own from a place like A La Crate or Event Essentials. So now that's something we're able to provide on site. And we've also been able to increase our marketing. We've heard from other folks in the industry that 2024 has been a light year for weddings. I think it's kind of the pushback from the pandemic, people having to reschedule, and but we're now booking through 2026. And so we've used some of the tourism commission grant funding for this year to promote that we're now booking through 2026 as well. And I'm waiting on just a couple more invoices, but I should have those to you, Neil, within the next few weeks.
That'll work.
So does anyone have any questions? Those kind of all three in a ramble.
I was just gonna mention to Neil, if there's an ability that we can talk to whoever you know at Country Inn and Suites and give that feedback. I know you probably are getting that feedback about the
Mhm.
shuttle, but I think having multiple people share that, I think will be helpful, and
Yeah,
maybe other
yeah.
hotels
absolutely.
will follow suit at some point.
Yeah, happy to do that.
Yeah, Aaron is the general manager at Country Inn and Suites. And he was also working with us too, which if other hotels could do this, to provide like if anyone comes from a referral from the Aldo Leopold Nature Center, they just get X amount off of whatever the booking rate is for that weekend. So we know that our discount would always be like 25% or 30% or something like that. So I'm interested in expanding that as well, because I think that's something that would be very attractive to folks planning events at the Nature Center.
Cool. So you already have that at Country Inn and Suites and you want to expand that, right?
Yeah, I would love to
Okay.
expand that. Yep.
Awesome.
Or at least, and as far as it being confirmed, it's with what Aaron's working on, and I believe that we'll have a solid number in 2025, if that makes sense, a discount number.
Yeah. That also helps you count the hotel stays to report back, right?
Absolutely.
Multiple benefits. Do any commissioners have any questions or comments? Teresa?
I do. Thanks, Andy. Hey, Karen, nice to see you.
Nice to
I'm
see you.
looking at the three pages, the 6 pages referring to the 3 different events. And I'm just wondering if you know or you have the statistics, the figures under the outcomes of the event section, event attendance estimated versus actual. I wonder if you yet have those actual numbers.
So for the 30th anniversary,
Yeah.
that will always be an estimate. There were people coming in from all over the place. We were
Oh, so it was
tallying,
got
yeah,
it.
tallying people as we could. For the adult summer camp, that is pretty much accurate. We had folks register online and then we had walk-in attendees. And then in terms of the weddings and sustainable events, I actually think it's higher than that.
Okay.
I think that that's my conservative estimate based on how many weddings we've had. Figuring about from past talks with our rentals managers, about 25% of guests then they're booking hotels for usually.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's wonderful to hear about the adult summer camp and how high your attendance was. That's wonderful.
yeah, it was a really great day. The first couple weeks after adult summer camp, I was elated thinking I had passed summer. Like summer was a success. Yay, we did it.
And you're
So
thinking that that's not, I mean, so you're thinking that this Camp Aldo is something that you're just going to do every year from now on?
yeah, it's so we used to, for those that might know, we used to offer a fundraising event called Pipers in the Prairie.
Yeah.
That event sort of died with COVID. And now our director of development is looking at retiring and I'm looking over to take some more fundraising events.
Okay.
And so yes, Camp Aldo Adult Summer Camp will be on our books going into the
Fantastic.
future.
Okay, sweet.
Mhm.
Other questions or comments? All right, hearing none. Thanks for attending and we'll see you in, what is it, next Thursday? I don't know, the 17th.
Sounds good. Thank you. I'll see you next week.
Thanks, Kara.
Bye-bye.
All right, we'll go with Ryan is next on my list here.
Hey guys,
Hey,
Hey, Ryan.
I don't know if I can do a report as well as she did. I take pride in my paper reports versus the verbal reports. She did an awesome job, but I'll try to keep up with that. So we obviously had two events with you guys, the Lake Monona 20K and the Milkman. One did really, really, really well. The other did all right, but just not as well as we wanted it to. So I'll start with Lake Monona. We saw just over 2,000 people participate. We guessed probably another 3,500. We typically guess low on that side, but another 3,500 spectators came to check that thing out. We did really well with that one. And with the surveys that came back, we estimate between 100 and 150 room nights were done. The way we do that is we send out a survey to people and we ask them, did you stay in a hotel? If you did, which hotel did you stay in? And then we check in with the hotels that were there. Your hotel Avid seemed to be one of the top choices for our participants on that one. So that made us very happy. We did have people from 22 different states and actually 4 different countries, US, Canada, Australia, and Antigua. Again, that's pretty much proof that we're getting hotel stays out of that, and really cool to see that we're bringing in people not only to do our events, but to see your cool area as well. So as always, the city took amazing care of us. You guys do a great job taking care of us, from the police, fire, and EMS to Jake and Missy at the parks to just you guys, doing everything you can to make the permit process easy. It's been amazing working with you guys, and I do appreciate that. We were able, another kind of big pride point for me is we were able to get $3,500 plus back to local charities from the event based on using our volunteer platform that we do and just having participants donate to the charities as well. So another good vehicle of what we like to do is give back to the community by making that happen. So overall, a huge success. I think all my receipts are turned in, Neil. I think we're in a good spot there. Thanks for getting payment out really quickly on that. That helps us since most of our marketing dollars are spent ahead of time. I think our marketing plan for Lake Monona went super well. We jumped from 14 states to 22 states this year, and we did put more money into it. And we did see, let me just pull that up again. Want to see how well we did on pulling people from that Chicago area, which is what we, I believe, last in 23. See, here's 24. So in 24, we saw about 95 people come from Illinois. And in 23, we saw 35 people come from Illinois. We did step that up, and that was a big focus on us using the dollars you gave us. We use social media to really target that Northern Illinois and almost a little bit into the Michigan City area over there. So we did really well. I think we did a good job, and I think if you guys are willing and accept us again next year, I'd like to bump that up a little further and see if we can't grow from that area. But overall, I'm super happy with it. I hope you guys are. And all in all, the event was almost perfect for us.
Awesome. And the
And do
milkman?
you want to hear about our less than spectacular event?
Yeah. Go ahead and go right into that one, Ryan, that's fine.
Hear about it all.
One of our marquee events, and we did really well with it in 2016. We brought it back in 2023 and did all right with it. This year we did it again, and unfortunately it did not do well for us at all. We did still see a decent, let me see, yeah. And we still did see a decent take of where people came from. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 20 different states besides Wisconsin. So we did see people coming from there. This one actually saw 107 people come from Illinois, and only 330 came from Wisconsin. So you can see a almost 1 to 3 ratio there. So I mean, as the demographics play out, we had a success with our marketing plan. As the total numbers play out, we did not have success. We needed about 750 people to make this a viable event with our expenses. We ended up just with over 500 people. So we did take a fairly significant loss on the event. We are really evaluating. I think I wrote in my report to you guys that it's highly unlikely we'll bring this one back. But we had a pretty lengthy discussion this morning with our medical partner and kind of reevaluated things. That it brought up the hope that it'll come back a little bit in a date change. Looking at the demographics and the people, we think the feelings of the endurance triathletes, the longer distance triathletes, aren't ready for this long of a race the second weekend of June. And again, we had, the first year we did this in 16, we had 1,215 people do the race, and we have a far grander reach now. And really, we have a good lock on the triathlon community. So we should be doing better than what this is. And really, the only thing we kind of hang our hat on right now is the fact that we think it's probably too early for that distance of a triathlon.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we did a good job. I mean, we spent every penny you gave us and an additional $1,200 or additional $2,500. We marketed the hell out of it. We changed our marketing up, tried everything we possibly could, and we just weren't getting any reach. It was few and far between getting them coming. Again, I shouldn't say that because I do think we did a good job getting it out there. Our metrics on the marketing turned out really well for the clicks and everything, which is telling me, again, people just don't want to come to a race at that time of the year, I think. So I'll get back to you guys on that if we choose to go a little bit later in the year. But other than that, I don't see a huge future. Definitely not a June future for this one.
Awesome. Questions, comments? Well, I appreciate it, Ryan. Thanks so much. And you live and learn from everything, right?
We sure do.
All right.
We sure do.
I'm sure we'll see you back, at least for the Lake Winona run.
Yeah, we'll definitely be back for that one if you guys will have us.
All right.
Thanks, Ryan.
You
Thank
better.
you
I
guys.
already
Have a
signed
great
up
rest of
for
your day.
it. So-
There you go.
Yeah, so-
Perfect.
All right.
Have
All
a good
right,
one,
thanks.
guys.
Have a good one.
You too. Bye.
All right, I see Pat Howell is next. I think Addie might be with Pat Howell.
Yep. Hey, Pat.
Okay. Hello.
Did I say your
Yeah,
name right, Addie? Is it? Okay.
So, Addie, do you mind if I go first on the Snow Snake games? Okay. I've got just a couple minutes. So, anyway, the Snow Snake games, this was the second time that we hosted that at San Damiano. And we anticipated about 200 to 250 people for the event. It didn't end up to be, we didn't have the number of people that we hoped for a couple of reasons. One, the Snow Snake Games was a game that Bill Quackenbush, who's a cultural heritage leader for the Ho-Chunk Nation, hosted. Just a great event opportunity to learn about the Ho-Chunk culture and experience it, as well as doing some storytelling and other learning opportunities. Last year it was scheduled for the, I think it was January 27th was the date we had it scheduled for. And kind of last minute, Bill was not able to come. So we had to reschedule. And then at the next date that was available for rescheduling that worked for Bill was March the 2nd. And at that time there was, well, actually all winter long, there wasn't any snow. So the Snow Snake Games shifted and just became the Ho-Chunk Games, which actually was a positive discovery in the long pull, because we found that having options doesn't limit us to snow conditions. So as we move forward, that definitely takes some pressure off and allows us to learn more. So it was a negative and a plus. But in the process of rescheduling and finding another date, I think part of what contributed to a lower turnout, and our turnout estimate would be probably 100 to 125 people. It's hard to say because it's an event that people come and go. So getting an accurate head count, we're still working on just how to figure that out. But it was definitely an event that was well received. People continually express, and this happens too with the Harry Whitehorse event too, how appreciative people are to learn about the Indigenous culture, learn about their history, participate in it, and also learn about the San Damiano and what a rich property that is in terms of just being able to use and enjoy that beautiful space on the lake, to learn its history, to enrich our culture. So those are all positives. In terms, as we move forward too, in terms of, as people are aware that that property exists and it's open to the public and that we are hosting events, I have full faith that people will continue to come. They really value those experiences. So our plan is to do it again this year. It will probably be under the name of Ho-Chunk Games or Winter Games, something like that. In terms of marketing, actually, it was helpful listening to Kara and learning a little bit about what they're doing and what Ryan is doing too. I've jotted down a couple of ideas as we can reach out in a broader sense than we have to bring people in, and also tie it. Some of the events that we do at San Damiano are not necessarily, other than the Harry Whitehorse event, are not necessarily things that would bring people for an overnight stay by themselves. The Winter Games are to some degree, because we have had other Ho-Chunk members come from out of state and from the Black River area to stay overnight. But I'm thinking it might be beneficial for us too, as we're marketing, to be able to encourage people to discover Monona when they might be in Madison for other reasons as well.
Absolutely.
And
good call.
be able to promote the hotels too in those messages. So it's kind of a learning experience as we move forward, but we're definitely convinced that this is a destination that people want to come to and experience and be involved in. So from that standpoint, in terms of number of hotels booked for that, I know one for sure, possibly two. That's an estimate. I can try to verify that as I fill out the document.
Yeah, just leave it at an estimate, Pat, and that's perfect. Just say 2 and put estimated. That's good. Yep.
That's good. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Yep. So that's pretty much the update. And I know Addie has all the information or a lot of it on the Harry Whitehorse.
Thanks, Pat.
And
Thank you, Pat.
before Eddie begins, thank you, Pat. Before Eddie begins, I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Were these documents intended to be distributed later, or should we already have them?
No, they had the option all
That's
of either
right.
getting the
That's
written
right.
report or providing the verbal. And if they go to the verbal, I gave them until November 1st to complete the
Now
full.
I'm remembering. Thank you.
Yep. Okay. Any questions for Pat?
Any questions for Pat on the snow stake or Ho Chunk games? All right,
All right.
thanks, Pat. Eddie,
You're welcome.
Yeah, excited to tell you guys about the Harry Whitehorse International Wood Sculpture Festival that was June 14th through 22nd at, again, San Damiano. Friends of San Damiano was the organizer of that event, and I'm here helping fill in. So I think at a high level, so many of us were at the festival, helped volunteer, helped plan the festival. It was I consider it a great success and really demonstrated the value of this kind of extended event for the San Damiano property, as well as for bringing people to Monona for it. So on top of the 11 sculptors, we had 60 volunteers participating, and our estimate is 8,097 attendees. So that's an estimate because we didn't have a gated event. It was an open event for people to come in and out. So we're able to make some estimates based on the guest book that we had people sign voluntarily. We had Facebook events and Eventbrite events that people would register for. There were some parking shuttle logs and some quick head counts throughout the festival. I guess I should also say that we were a recipient of a joint effort marketing grant from State of Wisconsin Tourism for this. And so I'm fortunate to be able to also report really good marketing data from S&B Marketing, who was our contract partner for doing the marketing for the Whitehorse Festival. So as I mentioned, we had 8,097 estimate attendees. Attendees were primarily local. We had about 80% local, and then about another 19% were regional visitors that we weren't expecting to stay overnight, and about 1 to 2% were people from farther afield that would have stayed overnight in the hotels. As for the estimates from S&B Marketing, they potentially generated $144,000 in local spending from the festival attendees. As for hotel stays, we estimate that there was 124 to 342 overnight stays. And that's again based on the S&B Marketing assumptions about who was there and number of people and families, et cetera. We had hotel blocks, 48 rooms spread across American Inn, Avid, and Country Inn and Suites. We know that we had 28 nights at the Country Inns and Suites and 20 nights at American Inn. I don't have a number, unfortunately, from Avid. And I think those are underestimates because the block of rooms we had actually expired about a month before the festival. So people would have had to make their reservation more than a month in order to be able to get into the block. So yeah, that high end of that estimate, 342 overnight stays. Generally, as I mentioned, S&B Strategic Marketing was the firm that did a regional-wide marketing campaign for the event. That included over, I'm going to give rough numbers, so for presentation's sake, so over 5 million impressions online, 42,000 clicks on our paid advertising, We also had the harrywhitehorse.com/festival website that tracked over 80,000 visitors during the event, or before and leading up to and during the event. And similarly, over 100,000 social media engagements, and earned media through television, radio, press releases, media alerts, and we even had live television come to the festival, reaching, again, an estimate of 7.8 million viewers. So big numbers for the reach for the marketing campaign for the White Horse Festival, that I think resulted in a lot of people coming to our community and really enjoying the experience of the festival, the 11 beautiful sculptures that were created over the week, including, Cashbox Kings coming in and doing a great concert on Tuesday night, and also a joint work with Make Music Madison, which actually I was fortunate to be able to come to the White Horse Festival and perform with my musical group at Make Music Madison during the White Horse Festival. It was a really great time. I did have some pictures to share, but I'll keep those in the reports. We did acknowledge all of our sponsors in a number of different events, in different places throughout the event, obviously on our website and in our online promotional materials, but we also had t-shirts. Festival t-shirts had sponsor acknowledgements. All of the signage had sponsor acknowledgements, and the brochures that we printed out describing the event also, and the schedule of events also had acknowledgements of our sponsorship.
And just a side note, those continue to work, because every time I wear my t-shirt, I get questions and comments, either people asking about it or said that they were there and how much they enjoyed it, so it works, Andy.
Good. I'd also just share with the group one of the follow-ons that's allowing this event to kind of keep being part of our community, is that Old Brick Botanical Gardens and Garver Feed Mill have now cited the sculptures. So if you go over to visit at Old Brick or visit at Garver Feed Mill, you're able to see those sculptures in their homes. I think the two big things that we learned this year, first and foremost, is yes, this event works in Monona. This was the first time that we had done this scope of live sculpture. It was a wonderfully bold idea, and I think, yes, it worked. That being said, I don't think it's going to be an annual event. It sounds like it's going to be a biannual event, so the next will be in potentially 2026. And I think we learned a lot about the site and how to get it to work for larger events like this, including the need potentially for gating of the facility in order to track who's coming in and out. The arrangement in space of where we had the sculptures and the food trucks and different events, a lot of different opportunities to how to lay that site out. And as we were expecting, parking. Most people were parking through the community or at the high school and shuttling in, which I think is an ongoing project that we will try and figure out how to optimize each year. Financially, I talked to Jen this morning, and Jen Kerr from Friends of San Damiano, and it sounds like everything's squared up on her end. If there's financial questions, my apologies, I'll have to defer them to Jen.
Awesome. Well, I'll just start by saying how amazing of an event it was. I think, with the celebration on the shore and then this event, it really has shown kind of what this property can do and how to manage larger crowds. I think one of the educational pieces that I learned was just the whole aspect regarding the property, not regarding the sculptures or anything, is just that traffic flow, not only the cars and parking, but also the pedestrian traffic to get to the property, and how that kind of north end of Winnequa poses a bit of a problem and a danger. Because a lot of people are parking in and then they're walking around, and I think that's something that the city and Friends of San Damiano will kind of have to think about, sidewalks or different things like that, because I mean that's only going to become more of a mainstay as you do more of these types of events. So I think, kudos to everybody on that team. I know it was a lot of work. I know it was a lot of hours. Pat's still on here, kudos to her for all the events that she does, but also doing this as well. She's retired, but this is essentially her full-time job. So, no, huge thank you for that, because it put Monona on the map in a different way, for sure.
Absolutely.
Other comments or questions from the group?
My only comment is just to completely echo what's already been said. It was an absolutely spectacular event. I think the number of volunteers was higher, but I can share that with you later.
Yeah, I'll double check
For
that. I
my
was
own
working
record
off.
keeping of unique volunteers, I know we had over 120 volunteer slots that were filled. And then based on like unique volunteers,
Mm.
I'm just running a quick little pivot table for you.
So the
Anyway,
volunteer coordinator.
Exactly.
it was a big deal. There were people that didn't show up. I get that, but I think you can even brag a little more is what I'm saying, Addie. Like the story is better that you can tell from moving forward. Yeah, it was spectacular. Yeah.
Other questions or comments? I think the
I
only
guess-
other, oh, go.
I was
just gonna
gonna
say the
also
only- Yeah,
add
go
the
ahead.
value of that, so that security and facilities was a big heavy lift, and the city did great things to help contribute that. And things you don't think about, moving around 2-3 ton logs was also a surprising challenge for this event. And we did again get some help from the city. So thank you again for that as well.
We can move trees. We got guys who can do that, yeah.
And
Yeah.
thank you to the Monona Tourism too, for all you have done to make this possible. These events wouldn't happen in the way they do without that support. I'm off to pick up grandkids. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Matt.
Bye.
But yeah, I was just gonna add what Addie just said about the city and the support of the city and all the city staff and the hours that went into that. Certainly a huge appreciation. And then, I mean, just we talk about these estimates and the numbers and marketing and all that such. And to hear those types of numbers and something that we helped fund is pretty spectacular. So it was neat to see that, we're little old Monona, small Monona could hit, 5 million people, have all those interactions.
We do a little flex on that.
So it was a great reach and great ability to, do our small part in making such a huge impact and reach. Any other questions or comments? All right.
Thanks,
Well, thank
Addie.
you, Addie. Appreciate it. So most of the there's a number of other reports that were sent out by Neil. And then as Neil said or mentioned earlier, organizations do have until November 1st to submit them. So we will send that out to the commission as they come in. But otherwise, we have our next meeting on October 17th.
Week from today, yep.
So you'll start to see some information about that.
And look for an agenda on Monday, I believe, so, yeah.
Perfect.
So, and then I just will point out to the commissioners, we are trying to kind of do a summary table regarding visitors and overnight stays, so we'll kind of keep that populated as these all come in. I don't want anybody to be alarmed when they see it. It's like, everybody's low. They always come in low, guys. We want them to be aggressive and aim high on their goals and visitors and overnight stays, and they almost always come in lower. That's kind of, we know that when we accept those applications, we know that reality is probably usually a little bit less than what they're shooting for, but nonetheless, we want them we appreciate their efforts, and they said, obviously you kind of hear, Ryan talk about actually surveying his people and getting, so that's pretty solid data there. As these events continue on, hopefully we can find ways to kind of start formally tracking those a little bit more officially in terms of visitors, and we get a little bit better each time they come back through. But yeah, a lot of times these estimates are usually pretty good. Like I said, they're obviously, if they were trying to snow us, they would have given us the exact same numbers they put in their application. So they're honestly, I feel confident as a staff person that they are trying to be honest in terms of what they felt the impact was. So that's all, I think at this point is really all we can ask, so.
And I think as more as that, more of that becomes mature, our relationships with the hotels also get better.
Absolutely.
And so hopefully they see us as a partner in trying to help them do their business, but then they also help in Monona and the organizations and the activities and different things like that we have going on here.
Absolutely. So if anyone has any questions on that, I said we'll probably be sending out an updated one after the end of the month, after we get everybody's reports in, so we kind of have a little bit better shot on that. And then I think we have actually just 2 applications to at least discuss, I think, for next Thursday's meeting, actually of new events, so.
Sounds good. All right, any other things for the good of the order for?
Just one thing, being relatively new to tourism, I'm just curious if this sort of after action, this sort of, post-mortem review is something that has happened in the past, or is this something that we've just started now?
Yeah, we just started it now.
It's
So,
fantastic.
yeah, we've always, and I wanted to make sure we separated it from a standard meeting. Just to give this enough time to breathe and enough time for questions. Obviously, we didn't last the hour and a half that we had logged, but that's fine. And so, yeah, so it's new and just trying to have some more follow-up. Because as I mentioned in the beginning, there's a lot of repeat applicants. And so just seeing what they learned, having them think about it and then having us think about it, I think is helpful.
I think it is fantastic. Even you may have heard Pat Howell said, I'm learning things that from the other applicants. I mean,
Yeah.
it's really important for that cross, communication for, this group applied, they advertised in these markets, this group didn't even know about those markets over. I mean, it was just really wonderful. Yeah.
Well, and I
Well,
also
now-
think about, oh, sorry, I was just gonna say, the other thing I think about synergies is, so, I mean, Mesba as our tourism entity had a marketing budget. So how do we kind of cross-pollinate so that, the Ho-Chunk games or the races are all being advertised kind of in one, so that we're not funding multiple advertisements when we could just fund one
Exactly.
organization or something of that sort, so.
Good point.
Yeah, I
Sorry,
was gonna
Betsy.
piggyback on what Teresa said, in that as an organization that applies for grants and is required most often to do a report, I do appreciate that it's easy. Neil, so thank you for putting that form together. That's just
Andy kept me in line.
not a heavy lift. And then sometimes not everyone loves public speaking, but sometimes it is easier to tell your story or orally. So I think that's a nice way to offer organizations a way to give feedback to.
Yeah, I like you guys, for me selfishly, it's for commissioners to be able to ask questions as easiest. I mean, we can always do the back and forth with the forums and when we get the information, but if it's, which could take, like a week back and forth, it takes 5 minutes if you guys are able to just ask them directly when they're here, so.
Yeah, and I guess that would be my only recommendation, is to have the information a little sooner, since I didn't have a lot of time between the stuff arriving and today, just now, to like review things. And I mean, that's why the oral report is helpful, but getting stuff sooner would be good too.
Yeah, and that's on me for sure on that, Betsy, but yeah, just so, again, since we don't really have, these aren't approvable documents, so certainly read through them. If you have questions on them 6 weeks from now, by all means, please send me an email and just let me know. This is kind of just for our files, say, yep, we checked in, they provided the information we wanted, and kind of certainly in terms of, looking at notes and seeing if they actually, if it's repeat applicants, do they kind of, did they make the adjustments they talked about, or are they trying to do things a little bit better, a little differently? So it's just, it's more kind of background information for us to save it. So by all means, please let us know if you have any questions on any of those.
Yeah, perfect.
Awesome. All right, well, if there's no other things for the good of the order, we'll see everybody on the 17th, and I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All right, perfect. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Bye.
All those opposed, nay. All right,
Thanks, everybody.
see ya, thank you.
Thank you.